Have you ever looked into the eyes of an animal and felt like they were staring straight into your soul? That's exactly what happened when she saw him for the first time. A jet black cat with piercing green eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 untold stories. But what this little guy did next, nobody saw it coming. It was a rainy Tuesday afternoon when she walked past that shelter in Portland. She wasn't even planning to go in, but something made her stop. Behind the glass window sat Shadow, a glossy black cat with hypnotic emerald eyes that followed her every move. The shelter volunteer's words still echo in her mind. That one's been here for 8 months. People pass him by because of superstitions about black cats. But honestly, he's the sweetest soul we've ever had. 8 months waiting for someone to see past an old myth. The moment she opened that cage, Shadow walked straight up to her, pressed his tiny head against her hand, and started purring so loudly that everyone in the shelter turned to look. It was as if he'd been waiting for her specifically. Now, here's where things get interesting. If you love stories about animals choosing their humans, you're going to want to see what happens next in this journey. The first night home, he hid under the bed for hours. She lay on the floor, speaking softly, telling her about her life. By the third day, Shadow emerged during breakfast and touched her leg with his paw, just once. "I'm ready to try," it seemed to say. What happened over the next few weeks absolutely stunned everyone who visited. Shadow didn't just warm up to her. He became attached in a way that defied everything people think they know about cats. He followed her from room to room. When she showered, he waited outside the bathroom door. When she cooked, he sat on the counter, watching every ingredient, every stir of the spoon, every flip of the pan. But the most remarkable thing? His communication style. Shadow developed this unique way of talking that left visitors speechless. He had different meows for different needs. A short, sharp chirp when he wanted to play. A long, melodic trill when he was happy. A soft, questioning mew when he was checking if she was okay. "Were you playing?" That's what it sounded like he was asking every time she stopped petting him mid-session. There's the spin. That became their thing. She'd spin in her office chair, and Shadow would watch with intense focus, his green eyes tracking every rotation, his little head moving side to side like he was studying some complex physics problem. Then he'd meow, jump up, and demand his turn to experience the spin himself. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. It's just a cat being a cat. But here's the thing about rescue animals, especially ones who've spent months in shelters. They remember, they appreciate, they love differently because they know what it's like to be unwanted. Shadow's personality continued to blossom in ways that seemed almost impossible. He learned to open doors by jumping and hanging on the handle. He figured out which cabinet held his treats and would sit in front of it, tapping it with his paw until she noticed. He even learned to play fetch, bringing back tiny toy mice and dropping them at his feet, waiting expectantly for another throw. "Are you mad at me?" She swears he asks this question with his eyes every time she's had a long day and hasn't given him enough attention. He'll sit at the edge of the bed, staring at her with those enormous green eyes, occasionally letting out the softest, most pitiful meow you've ever heard. It's manipulation at its finest, and it works every single time. 6 months into their journey together, something happened that proved just how deep their bond had become. She came home from work feeling terrible. Flu symptoms, fever, the works. She collapsed on the couch, barely able to move. Shadow, who usually greeted her at the door with his excited chirps and figure-8 leg weaves, immediately sensed something was wrong. What he did next made her cry. This little black cat, who had spent 8 months being overlooked and unwanted, climbed onto her chest and stayed there. for 3 days. He barely moved except to eat and use his litter box. He became her little heating pad, her comfort, her nurse. Every time she woke up, there he was, those green eyes watching her with what could only be described as genuine concern. When you adopt a rescue, you're not just saving them, they're saving you too, in ways you never expected. As months turned into years, Shadow's quirks only became more endearing. He developed this habit of helping with everything she did. Working on the laptop, Shadow would lay across the keyboard. Making the bed, Shadow would attack the corners of the sheets. Doing yoga, Shadow would weave between her legs during downward dog, purring like a motorboat. But perhaps the most touching routine was bedtime. Every single night, without fail, Shadow would wait until she brushed her teeth, changed into pajamas, and climbed into bed. Only then would he make his entrance. He'd jump up, walk the length of her body from feet to chest, circle 3 times, and curl up right against her heart. His purring would be the last sound she heard before falling asleep. Now, nearly 4 years later, Shadow remains that same devoted companion, just with a bit more confidence and a lot more personality. He greets guests at the door like a tiny host. He's learned the sound of her car and waits by the window for her arrival. He's even become Instagram famous, with thousands of followers who can't get enough of his expressive eyes and dog-like behavior. The people who used to avoid him because of superstitions, they're the ones missing out, because Shadow proved that love doesn't care about fur color or old myths. Love sees the soul underneath. And his soul, it's pure gold, wrapped in midnight black fur. She often thinks about that rainy Tuesday when she almost didn't stop, about how close she came to walking past that shelter, about how different both their lives would be if she hadn't looked through that window. Sometimes the best decisions we make are the ones we don't plan, the ones that choose us as much as we choose them. Shadow changed her understanding of what it means to rescue an animal. Because the truth is, she went to that shelter thinking she was saving him. But every day, in 100 small ways, he's the one who saved her. He taught her about patience, about trust, about the kind of love that doesn't need words because it speaks through presence. But here's what keeps her up at night sometimes. What if she hadn't stopped that day? What if Shadow was still waiting behind those bars, watching people walk by, wondering if anyone would ever see him? How many other Shadows are out there right now in shelters across the country, just waiting for someone to look past the myths and see the magic?